Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Roy Evans of the Jericho Broadcast Networks, and I am here with Mr. Darren Reed, who is the Senior Vice President of Stride Professional Development. Darren, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Roy. Glad to be here.
All right, well, thanks. So let's start off by telling the folks a little bit about what Stride Professional Development is.
Yeah, absolutely. Stride is the nation's leading provider of online education in the K through 12 space. We were formerly known as K-12 Inc. and are over 2 decades in the space of providing free virtual online education across the nation to students, no matter where they are. We've since changed our name to Stride because we've expanded beyond the K-12 space, though that's still very much what we do as a priority. What we've also done with the Stride Professional Development Center is we've leveraged some of our expertise over the past 2+ decades of supporting schools and students and educators, teachers, principals, and we are trying to innovate, the way professional development happens for educators, and that we're doing that through the Stride Professional Development Center. Gone are the days where it's face-to-face only PD. It's episodic professional development. It's professional development that's not necessarily relevant to what teachers and educators need right away. So the Professional Development Center is designed to solve that challenge with some unique and innovative ways of delivering content.
All right, man. Well, listen, we are super excited here at the network to be engaged with you all and helping to provide this opportunity for teachers all across the country, and especially those teachers that are coming from our HBCU backgrounds, because we know that education was always one of the stalwarts of most HBCUs in this country. They all had teaching programs, and that's what a lot of them were founded for. So there, let's talk a little bit about those special programs that you guys have for the teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Roy, you hit on the very important point. Right now in our country, we're facing probably one of the greatest challenges of our teaching corps that we have in many, many years. And that's around this teacher shortage. A lot of teachers are exiting the profession just based on tenure. They're retiring and moving on. And then you have, our existing teachers who are being taxed and stressed, particularly post-COVID with, increasing demands, challenges that they're facing in the classroom, and a host of other issues that they struggle with. And we need good teachers, and we need to support the teachers that we have. So the two things that we're doing is that we know first-year teachers, among all teachers, are among the first to leave the profession within the first 5 years. I think they do at a 44% rate, which is just scary to think that folks are, graduated, want to go in the classroom and make a difference, but feel like they need to leave within the first 5 years because it's so challenging. So we want to support them. Obviously, as a new teacher, your school that you work, where you work your first year, the district where you work, there will be some professional development support to assist you. But we want to go a step further. We want to help every teacher in the country get off to a strong start to their first year and have some stick-to-itiveness, to help them get through that first year. So we're offering a year free access to the Stride Professional Development Center. It's a ever-growing online database of courses that will help them in a variety of different ways. Classroom management, targeted instruction, and a host of other things. And the content will continuously grow. Again, it's just another resource that allows them to sharpen their practice, to feel like they're supported, because the research says that teachers are leaving in large part because they don't feel like they get enough professional support. So we really hope that helps new teachers. So again, this is for any new teacher who just graduated in the country. All you have to do is go to our site and sign on using the Teachers Win discount at checkout. Also, we have another campaign where during Teacher Appreciation Week, we gifted all teachers in the country, no matter where you are, 6 months free Professional Development Center access. But we're doing a special thing through our partnership with the BCSN and our HBCU graduates, and also the schools that you work with. We want any teacher in the country who through our partnership gets access to the Professional Development Center, and they get 6 months free using the BCSN 23 passcode at checkout. Again, our goal is to support and get as many teachers on the site feeling supported, to really help them succeed and have some success, not only for them, but obviously for our kids and the communities they serve. So.
Most definitely. And Darren, listen, we are super excited again to be a part of this. My mother was a teacher. My aunt was a teacher. I have my best friend is a teacher.
Absolutely.
So we understand. I've worked in the school system for years. So I understand the resources that are needed. I understand why a lot of these teachers do take the time and they sit there, and after going through college, they're like, you know what, let's do something different. Yeah. So we're happy to be a part of this to help you guys change that. So ladies and gentlemen, here's all you guys need to do. All you need to do is take a look and go to the link that's right below us right now and see what you're going to do. You're going to see two links on the page now, just to make sure. The top one takes you to their professional development page, homepage, that'll let you know about some of the things that are happening there and the things that you have access to. Go to the second link that says Teacher Appreciation. That'll take you directly to the content page where you can sign up and get your free year if you're a new teacher, and your free 6 months if you're an existing teacher. Let's show them.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won a loss. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won a loss, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon'
This is Dr. Mills inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Welcome to episode 416 on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. The institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. We just simply call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host Mike Washington and Charles Bishop, filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, Charles, how you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. It is camp is open for everybody now, and I think all the players have heard that Jody speech. So we up and going now. So, and if you're unfamiliar with the Jody speech,
Charles, you may have to educate our fans on what a Jody speech is.
That's where Coach lets you know that lock in for camp. Jody has your girl now. So yeah, I think everybody's heard the Jody speech. So.
Yeah, that Jody was the term we used in the military. It was like, you here now, Jody's got your girl, so you locked up here. So thank you for elaborating on that. Jody got your girl. Your assets are here now.
time to lock in now.
Oh, that means it sounds like it's time to go to work. And when we're talking about going to work, Mike, how you doing today? Obviously, we said you out on assignment, but we know that you were dealing with some car issues, so it's good to see that you were able to figure that out.
Man,
and you text us and said, "Hey, man, I'm good. Everything ready. I'll be on the show tonight." Then all of a sudden, you said the car was wobbly. Like, man, I thought you was in a dance car.
I don't mean to be a spokesman, but man, the one time I use Avis, I get a deal. I'm all preferred. They give me a little bitty ass Mitsubishi. And that thing, I got to 71 miles per hour. The steering wheel started shaking, right? And I'm texting Yada and Charles, and I pull over to the side, and I call it AAA, and I'm calling Avis, and the thing's still shaking, right? So I'm like, what is going on? So they like, we can give you a car, Mr. Washington. We're so sorry. I normally don't use Avis, disclaimer. But they said, we can get your car between now and midnight. So I open up the hood. ain't no coolant. No coolant whatsoever. Who gives you a car with no coolant? So I'm upset. I'm sorry, but I was aggravated. Ava screwed me on that. They gave me one on that one. So that's how that went.
We texted him after the show to check on him, and he was like, man, I'm on the side of the road waiting. I was like, oh, God.
And that, folks, is your Google review on Avis.
Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab was sponsored by THE Agency. THE Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational and consulting and data analytics. With that being said, Charles, what's the news of the day?
Wow, what's the news of the day? Well, actually, it happened on yesterday, and I think this is pretty huge for Jackson State. But after reportedly being pursued by another SWAC school, Jackson State Athletic Director Ashley Robinson is staying at Jackson State. And this is a quote from interim president Lane Hayes Anthony. A.D. Robinson is staying at the I Love Jackson State.
Is that what we're going to say about it? Is that what we're going to say? Being pursued by another school, we going to leave it there?
After reportedly being pursued. So continue with her statement. We hold it up as they say.
He said reportedly. I like
it. We held it up as they say in sports, and we came out a winner. I am so pleased to have him as part of my administration. We want him here because of his brilliant track record. He's done so many things to elevate athletics, which is part of our strategic plan. So, Ashley Robinson staying at Jackson State University.
Congratulations to Ashley Robinson. Mike, what news of the day do you have?
We going allegedly, whatever. Okay, so congratulations to Prairie View A&M. They've selected Anton Goff as their new athletics director. Prairie View A&M new incoming president Tamika LeGrand announced that today. It's become official. So, we must give Mr. Goff his credit. He is a seasoned athletic administrator. This comes across many multimedia channels, social media platforms, HBCU sports, and game day. I want to give everyone their credits because they came out with this breaking news almost at the same time. So Goff currently serves as the senior director for athletics director for Northern Illinois University. So in his capacity, he oversees kind of student athlete and academic support services for NIU's 17 varsity sports, which is a good thing. He's also responsible for creating and implementing the athletic department's strategic plan and plays a very integral role in fundraising and facility development, which is something that Prairie View is definitely in dire needs of in terms of improvement. So in terms of what's been said, we conducted an extensive national search for this position. Said President LeGrand, Mr. Goff stood out, not only because of his capabilities, but his experience in leading intercollegiate activities. As far as his background, this is a Pittsburgh native, folks. Former football student, athlete at Bowling Green University. Anton Goff earned his bachelor's and master's degree from Virginia Commonwealth University in 91 and 94. So kudos to him for that. He has over 25 years of experience in athletics administration, spanning across many broad roles. Prior to his role at NIU, he served as director of athletics at St. John's University in New York, University of Hartford in Connecticut, Bowie State University in Maryland. So throughout his career, he's been responsible for increasing athletic fundraising efforts. So that appears to be kind of the focus for Prairie View A&M, to get someone else, to bring somebody in with some fundraising effort background, and because that, if you're in the know and in what's going on at Prairie View, that's the drive, fundraising to engage alumni. So Mr. Goff, congratulations to him. Hats off on his background. He is the new Prairie View A&M University athletics director. So hats off to him as well.
Congratulations, Anton Goff. With that being said, Charles, what other news you had the other day?
Yeah, this is huge news. Multiple HBCU football players added to the Buck Buchanan Award watch list. Of course, the Buck Buchanan Award is for the top defenders in FCS. So let's take a look at those names. Grambling State defensive end Sundiata Anderson, South Carolina State linebacker Patrick Godbolt, were both selected, along with Alabama State linebacker Colton Adams and North Carolina Central defensive back Khalil Baker. They were among 35 FCS players selected by Stats Perform. And just take a look at Sundiata Anderson. He was an all-SWAC performer, put himself on the radar as an NFL prospect last year after a season in which he recorded 50 tackles, 12 and a half tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He was most recently named preseason SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. So kudos to those 4 players being on the preseason Buck Buchanan Award watch list.
Buck Buchanan watch list.
Buck Buchanan.
We have other watch lists out there. Mike, what other news you have of the day? What else is exciting you on your mind at this time?
Well, how about a pair of HBCU offensive folks named to the Walter Payton watch list? I don't know if we covered this, but I think it's outstanding. I want to cover it again. You know, a couple of folks have announced that North Carolina Central University senior quarterback, Davius Richard. I know some people say Richard. Some people say Richard. I'm going to say Richard. If the family gets mad, blame it on me. I'm sorry. And Alcorn State senior running back. Man. I say Richard. I don't care. Whatever. No. Davies. And then Alcorn State senior running back, Javion Howard. Jarvion Howard among 35 FCS standouts. Named
call him Howard.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Howard because that's more clear. And then they were named to the 2023 Walter Payton Award preseason watch list. So of course, you may or may not know this award is given annually to the National Offensive Player of the Year in Division I FCS college football. Richard, 6'3", dual threat QB, was a 2022 Walter Payton Award finalist and finished his junior campaign leading the MEAC in passing yards, 2661 and some change, and passing touchdowns at 25, rushing touchdown 55. I'm sorry, 15. He was also voted MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. So an impressive campaign, and named Offensive MVP of the Cricket 2022 Celebration Bowl, which they beat that little school coming out of Mississippi. But we ain't saying nothing there. So Howard, in his first season with Alcorn State last year, after transferring from Syracuse, rushed for a little over 1,270 yards, 12 touchdowns. He was named All-SWAC First Team and received the SWAC Newcomer of the Year. So congratulations to those 2 individuals on being preseason favorites to the Walter Payton award list. So that's a big honor, tremendous honor, given the history of the award.
Good stuff. Watch list. It'll be interesting to see who puts themselves in position to be on a preseason list. And obviously love getting ahead of things when you start talking about preseason lists, and then those are on the watch list as we get excited and activated through the year. One place that you'll be able to see these players is on the screen, television broadcast network, as the SWAC formerly outlined their ESPN ABC schedule is out, which includes defending SWAC champion Jackson State will kick off the coverage during week 0, as we all know, on August 26th against South Carolina State in the 2023 MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff, as it's been rebranded, live on ABC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The schedule of the SWAC games is highlighted by several classic matchups, including the Labor Day Classic, Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern, the State Fair Classic, Grambling and Prairie View, the Magic City Classic, Alabama A&M versus Alabama State, the Boombox Classic, Jackson State at Southern, and the Florida Classic, Bethune-Cookman versus FAMU. So ESPN is loading up on the Classic. It'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. And as you know, the 2023 Pepsi SWAC Football Championship will air on ESPN2 on December 2nd at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 3 o'clock Central Standard Time for those that are in our region. Listen to some of the games, packed full of games. Anything from Southern at Alabama State, Prairie View A&M at Texas Southern that first weekend, all the way down to the last weekend in November with Alabama State at Prairie View, Alcorn State at Jackson State, Bethune-Cookman at FAMU, obviously closing out that Thanksgiving weekend with Tuskegee at Alabama State. So chock up full of games. You have several weekends where you have 2, some weekends where you see 3 games listed. So it's going to be fascinating to see how all this comes together. With that being said, come back on the second half of the show. I want to ask you your thoughts on this television schedule. Also on the second half of the show when we close it out, I also want to get your thoughts on the Black Media Day. Hadn't had a chance to really share that much as we came back, really getting y'all back together. We talked about it as we close things off, but we'll get a little bit into that. Let's take our first break. We'll come back on the other side. Hopefully get a chance to get into a great interview with Karen Carty. That's Dr. Karen Carty, the new athletic director at the Virgin Islands University of the Virgin Islands. Excited about this announcement and opportunity. Look forward to the discussion there and dialogue. Stick with us. Be right back after this first break.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
We surely can.
Man, I tell you, some of those backstories coming out of those breaks, they get better and better every time. So none other than, I kind of tease this out, as we have Dr. Karen M. Carty, who was recently named University of Virgin Islands Director of Athletics for UVI Athletics in terms of Virgin Islands. For those that may not be aware, UVI is an HBCU. It is the only HBCU outside of the continental contiguous part of the U.S., but it is in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, as you would imagine, but it is a HBCU there. Part of that, as you heard a little more about UVI, those that have kind of been connected, particularly to our show here, you heard the announcement a short while ago where they became an official member of the GCAC, Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. That is a conference now made up of HBCUs operating at the NIA level. With that being said, I've had a chance to work with Dr. Karen McCarty before when I visited the MEAC for Media Day. She was extremely gracious in terms of working me as I was trying to set up so we could make sure that we got everything taken care of. And sometimes you get your luggage, you might miss a thing here and there. And so she made it work really well because I was spazzing out, as they would say, because I thought I made the long trip and was going to work. A little bit less about that, but more about Dr. Carty. Congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you. Let's just jump right into it. As we came into the break, Mike got a little excited about the accent. Some people may have just picked it up. If not, they'll certainly get it throughout that. So with that being said, while we know you as an alumni of Norfolk State University, actually, where are you from?
I am originally from St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So super excited about being able to, get back to the VI and, lead the amazing athletics department at UVI.
Peas and rice, baby.
So see, Mike, in the Virgin Islands, we say rice and peas, but yes, same vibe. Yeah, no, same thing, same concept. I'm really good at making it.
Yes.
Help him out. But you should have told him that you can make it, because now when we visit, you're gonna have to.
Right? That's fine. Now, that's okay.
It may be the trick to make sure we get down there, huh?
Right.
With that being said, talk a little bit, if you would, your experience growing up in St. Croix, and then how did the opportunity come your way to ultimately get to Norfolk State University?
So, born and raised on St. Croix, went to St. Joseph High School. I played several sports. I was kind of a jack of all trades, master at none. I was good. I was okay at basketball. I played tennis, played softball, volleyball, and ran a little bit of track, right? But I had hopes of being a basketball player, and we didn't have a team my senior year. So I was like, I'm smart. Let me just go to school for academics, right? So was looking at schools.
That's kind of nice. You just throw that in. I'm smart.
Right. You're going to put that in there.
Right. Yeah. Let's make the main thing and, go to school for academics. So I wanted to go to a university that had a small class size. And HBCUs weren't a thing for me then. I grew up in a community where we were 70, 80% Black. So being around Black people was my norm. So the idea of an HBCU didn't click for me. But I applied to Norfolk State, Morgan State, the University of Miami in Florida, and UNC Asheville. And it ended up that Norfolk State had the best financial aid package, and it felt like home when we were able to visit. So I remember when it came time to make the decision, I had all of my acceptance letters laid out on the table, and me and my mom, like, she's sitting across from me, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't know where to go, Mom. And she was like, go where it feels good. So ended up at Norfolk State, one of the best decisions I made in terms of, furthering my education. Ended up playing tennis there senior year. So I literally went for academics and did an internship with the tennis coach after my junior year. I worked for him during the summer. And then he said, I'd love to have you work with me during the school year, but I was an RA, so I couldn't get any scholarship money. I couldn't do anything, or I couldn't get paid to work. So he was like, it's a shame you can't play tennis. And I was like, I can't play. And he was like, you've been in this office for 2 months and you haven't said that? I was like, you didn't ask. So he was like, grab a racket, grab some balls, let's go to the court. So we went, and he saw me serve and we hit, and he was like, oh, you can actually play. And I was like, yeah, you didn't believe me? You didn't. So he gave me a scholarship, and I was on the team as a senior. And that was, a great part of my Norfolk State experience.
Wow. Amazing.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I said, oh, you can actually play.
Right. He was so surprised. He's so surprised.
I know he's mad that you started walking into the office a couple of years prior. He's like, man, I was up 2 years.
Because I had helped him recruit for the summer. So we had a full team of people that year. So he was like, why didn't you tell me when we started? Like, again, you didn't ask. So, it worked out. He ended up being one of my favorite people, and, great times at NSU.
With that, Charles, go ahead and follow up.
Yeah, Dr. Carty, one of the statements that I noticed in the introductory statement introducing you was Dr. Hall talking about she is just what we need to expand and improve athletics and take us to the next level of competitiveness. And I wanted to ask, what is talk about the importance of UBI now becoming part of a GCAC?
So it gives us a chance to compete with other people on our level. We were independent before. We were GCAC independent, so we didn't have specifically a conference, so we didn't have a set number of games to play, and everything was, not as intact as we needed it to be before they competed in a Caribbean conference based out of Puerto Rico. So competing in the GCAC will give us national recognition when we come to play the different teams. When we go to Texas to play Wiley, when we're playing the different other HBCUs in the conference. So it'll give us a presence on the mainland, but it'll give us a set number of competitions in all our sports and give us a home for us to compete so that our student athletes can feel like, they belong somewhere outside of UVI. They have a conference that they could compete for and, have pride in and all that good stuff.
Oh, wow.
Mike, if you would, go ahead and join.
Yeah, so DEI moment.
Okay.
I read it somewhere. 60 years. You're the first female.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what that means to you personally and professionally, and your background with the MEAC or the MEAC, as some folks like to talk. I call them, we're the SWAC or whatever. So in your background working, what do you bring to the front? What other skill sets in your background do you think can help with the strategic movement of the university going in the next 3 years? But please talk to the DEI piece, because that is also my background.
Right. So, it's always pretty cool to make history, right? I will literally live in the history books as the first woman to lead UVI athletics. So that is not something I take very lightly. It's something I'm really appreciative of. And, I wasn't able to be the first female AD at NSU. So, why not go home and be the first female AD at UVI? But really means the world to me, especially because both of my parents attended UVI. And my dad went to the campus. My dad graduated from the campus where I'll be working. So, to think about the fact that these same walkways that I'll be walking on is where he walked 50 years ago. That's really like a big surreal moment for me. My mom attended UVI St. Croix. She was a non-traditional student, went a couple times, and she went to school after she had me. So there were times when I was on campus with her as a little kid. So, to be like literally a full circle moment where my beginnings had to do with UVI, and now I am here in an unexpected role and making history at that. So I am very honored to be the first woman. I hope that I am not the last. I want to blaze trails for women and, young Black people to do the things that I am doing, because if I'm the only one, then I would have failed. But if I create a trail for everybody else to follow and to walk behind me, like, let's go, we would have done it right. So super excited about that. And then in terms of my background, I think this was the perfect opportunity for me, because like I was telling Doc the other day, I don't go after jobs for titles or like specific jobs. I need to be fully aligned with my skills and my values and everything and my abilities with a job. So when they sent me the posting, I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. Okay, we need to rebuild. We need to strategize. We need to have some strategic planning. I can do those things. I'm good at those things, right? So it just happened to be that the title of the job was athletic director. So, it was a great opportunity to be aligned with the things that I'm good at. My marketing and communication skills would be clutch in putting UVI in everybody's face. Getting the brand out there to everybody nationally. Because again, everybody in the Caribbean knows who UVI is, but everybody on the mainland doesn't. And they may not know where we are and what we stand for and what we do. So being a part of the conference will let us do that. But then having my leadership skills in terms of marketing and communication will definitely get us out there in a way that everybody can get with.
Hats off. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Before we take this first break, I'd be remiss if I didn't fast forward a little bit. We'll come back on the side and let Mike and Charles continue with some of the questions. I see them coming up. But what did your mom and dad say once you told them that you were hired, that you got the notice that you landed the job?
They were excited. So my dad, he was a typical dad. When the opportunity came up, he was like, "You really want to do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't you see it fits well with my skill set, Dad?" And he gave me we went back and forth. He was like, "You sure you want to do it?" And I was like, "Why not?" I was like, "Let's try." Because my motto for 2023 was that I'm taking all shots. I'm shooting every shot for anything.
Nice.
If I may not be qualified, we're going to just shoot, right? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, so I'm taking all the shots. So as things started to progress, he got more into it. And then by the time the announcement came out, he was the proudest dad ever. Like, he started calling folks before it came out.
Shout out to Dad.
Right? He was like, "Hey, some news is coming out about Karen, maybe tomorrow, so check it out." And he was sharing it. And then he called me Tuesday morning and he was like, "Girl, you're trending." And I was like, "Am I, Dad? Am I?" But apparently I was in his world. So he was super supportive. My stepmom, she was as well. So she was supportive from the beginning, because again, that's how moms, stepmoms usually are. So once I talked to her about it, she was like, "Oh yeah, if that's what you want to do, let's go get it." So together they've been awesome, and I know Dad and he's super proud.
Oh man, yeah. Your parents are better than mine.
I want to show out a little bit. I know this far out there, but
yes.
You see
Shout
that
out
shirt
to you,
there?
Yeah, I love the shirt.
Yes.
I gotta get you all some athletics branded gear, Doc. So I got you, and let me get it.
Yes, please.
We'll get you some stuff,
and we will wear it proudly. We do put it on the show, so you get a lot of branding here. Smart move by Dr. Karen Cardi. She said she knows her marketing professional goes well. Let's get into our first break. We'll come back on the other side with this exciting interview and get a little more detail. And we'll start talking about moving forward, unless Charles and Mike may have a couple of questions that they want to include to make sure that we get all that aspects in. But we got another segment coming to you with Dr. Cardi, the new Director of Athletics at UVI. That's the University of Virgin Islands. We'll be right back after this second break.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders scalp shield technology.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and Mike Washington. We're here with the announced Director of Athletics at the University of Virgin Islands. That is Dr. Karen Carty, as she starts here off. One question I did want to ask, or at least wanted to make sure we got on air, is just like, what made you decide it's like, oh, they have a new position over there at UVI. I'm gonna apply for that.
Oh, that's a funny story.
Norfolk State area.
Right. No, that's a funny story. I'm gonna keep it short though, but one of my good professional colleague friends actually applied for the position earlier in like May, I think. And he put me down as a reference. So the interim AD called to check the reference, and he sent the email and we talked about, he recognized, I was from the Virgin Islands and hey, you're doing a lot of cool things. So I was like, cool, call me, I have some time, let's talk. And I started the conversation out by saying, I didn't know the position was open. If I did, I may have applied. And that was true. That was 100% true. It's kind of joking, but it was true because I didn't know it was open. So fast forward a couple weeks, and my friend turned the job down because he got an opportunity where he was to stay. And they were like, hey, we'll send you the information. We know you said, you may apply. So here it is. Think about it, check it out, let us know if you have questions. And a couple weeks later, here we are, right? But then when I looked at it, right, yeah, I looked at it and I was like, I can do this. And during the conversation, after I had given the reference, we had a really great conversation about where UVI was, where they were in the GCAC, and what plans they had for this year. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Good to know, up and coming, working hard to get to the next step. So then when they presented the opportunity, I was like, you know what? Again, shooting all shots in 2023. I was like, let's see what happens. And literally a couple weeks later, here we are.
Wow.
Fast forward,
wow.
Strategy moving forward. You talk a little bit about what plans they had for GCAC. Can you talk a little bit about that and include what plans you have over the next 90 days, if you will, or next year, if possible?
Yeah, so I want to make sure to bring some stability to the department. They've had a couple ADs in the last couple of years. We've had turnover with coaching staffs and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that we're stable in going forward. Last season, the women's basketball calendar was cut short because they had some injuries and some things that prevented them from having a full team. So I am going in ground level, making sure that we have what we need to compete in all our sports, that all our student athletes are healthy and have, again, access to the things that they need, all the resources. And like year one for me is just making sure we get through. So starting with cross country, we're going to need to hire a coach, need to work on staffing for the entire department, but starting with cross country, because that's our first sport up, making sure we have a qualified coach in place to coach our student athletes, making sure everybody's eligible and all that stuff is taken care of, clearinghouse wise, making sure, they're outfitted properly. Same with basketball, same with track and field. So again, just making sure we check the basic boxes, making sure we can get to all our games, make sure our opponents can get to us, and those kinds of things. So keeping it like really, really basic for year one, because I had a chance to speak to one of the men's basketball players when I went on my visit. We were randomly in St. Croix for that campus visit, and he was traveling with the one of the programs that was doing some summer work on St. Croix. And I was like, what is one of the things that you think the department needs? And he said consistency. He was like, we've been through, and he was a junior. So he was like, we've been through a couple people, we need to make sure that we know what's going on, that we can trust that what's supposed to happen will. So that, showed that they just need the basics right now. So let's come in, make sure they're taken care of, make sure they have everything that they need to play and succeed on the surface, in the classroom, and get things done. And then, once we get past that a little bit, like I said, I got to work on staffing. So right now, We're hiring for a cross-country coach, a SID, eventually a women's basketball coach, because my men's basketball coach is a superstar and he is going to coach both of them this year. So men's and women's basketball, right? We're going to get him some GAs really quickly, some volunteer coaches for this year to kind of help him through. But, you know, he's very committed to the program and will go to any length, clearly, to get this thing done. So love having him on my team. Shout out to Coach Shannon Taylor for being my Superman so far. So working on staffing, but another thing that I definitely need to do is work on building relationships on campus in the community. So that's me and the coaches and the staff going out, meeting with people, bringing them into our spaces so they can, you know, kind of fellowship with us where we are and see, you know, what we have to offer. And then, you know, the big thing that all ADs everywhere have to do is to raise money. So identifying local, regional, and national corporate partners that we can work with that can help, you know, further sport expansion as we go on. Because, you know, we want to add some more sports that are conference sponsored, and then, you know, that are popular locally. So everybody in the Caribbean loves soccer, right? So we used to have soccer on St. Croix quite a few years ago. After the hurricanes, they discontinued those programs and they're clamoring for something on the St. Croix campus. So got to get soccer, men's and women's soccer back for them. Need to add volleyball. One, it's a conference sponsored sport, but volleyball programs are successful in the Virgin Islands. And we have a pipeline right there with the high school. So why not add, you know, volleyball? So, and then we're on the beach. People play volleyball. We add beach volleyball, right? It makes sense.
Right.
So again, yeah. Coming to hang out and play for me, Mike.
Yes.
Right. But
yes.
But, you know, adding sports, like I said, that fit locally and conference wise. So, you know, those are the things that I'll focus on, getting us stabilized and then helping us to grow eventually.
Go ahead, Charles.
You actually touched on something that I had a question about. I'm kind of fascinated by but you talked about some of the challenges. You mentioned staffing, but are there unique challenges to UVI being a HBCU not on the mainland that I guess that you all would see versus, you know, HBCUs on the mainland?
Yeah, so the biggest one, like you mentioned, we're not on the mainland. So every away game is a flight for us. So imagine, you know, packing up both of our basketball teams and putting them on a flight to Texas, to literally wherever we're going. So that is one of the challenges that we face, that we have to travel to everywhere, but then everybody's budget may not accommodate for them to come to us. So it's hard for us to get non-conference game schedules. So, you know, we got to try to entice them to come with guarantees and different things. So that is one challenge. But then, you know, hurricanes and natural disasters out there are differently approached than they are here in the mainland. Because again, if something happens in Texas, y'all can evacuate east, west, or north, right? But when we're on the island, if we don't get out on a plane when they're sending us out, we're stuck there. So those are some of the unique challenges that I think it's not even HBCU related. It's just like geographically related.
Sure.
So, right. And we work around those, you know, we have things in place for hurricane season, and being a local and somebody who grew up in the Caribbean with a whole lot of hurricanes, I know, you know, how to navigate. So, yeah, looking forward to working through the challenges, because once we get through them and find ways to fiscally, you know, get through them responsibly, of course, we should be good. We'll be good.
Sure. No, it's fascinating.
Fascinating.
Mike, you wanted to follow up with a question?
Yeah, you know, kind of following up, you said it earlier. A lot of people in the States are not familiar with the University of Virgin Islands, not familiar. You're in the GCAC. Talk to me about branding. You have a marketing degree, and I heard some parts of your elevator speech, but how, you know, in year 2, 3, how do you brand this university? Because there are tremendous athletes in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi that would be very interested and going to the university, just not aware of it. So talk to me about branding.
Yeah, so branding is absolutely important. One of my sticking points, again, UVI's colors are blue and white. So everywhere I show up right now, blue and white, right? So I'm going to work very closely with the enrollment management or enrollment services director and our institutional advancement folks to get messaging out to everybody. Like one thing that I always reference, so there was this commercial that the state of California put out that had different actors and actresses talking about the different fun things to do in California. It was like, oh, you can hike in the mountains, or you can go to the beach, you can surf, you can see a play, you can see a star. I want to do something like that for UVI and spread it on the mainland so that we can introduce our brand to everybody here. Because like you said, they may not know. So being in the conference helps us with that because we get to be ambassadors, come into the mainland to play these games. I'm looking to work very closely with the Department of Tourism to help, us support the mission of getting the name of the UVI and the Virgin Islands out there. So yeah, brand is super important. Everywhere we go, we are ambassadors for the Virgin Islands, US and BVI, but mostly US. But we will make sure that wherever we show up, we show out well for the VI, and then have our messaging go before us, be it social media, advertising in different ways, and just, put our name out there more.
Show the beaches and the food. I'm telling you, you got them.
Right?
You got them. You got
them.
So,
easy enough. Yeah.
Our slogan is welcome.
Well, you got Mike and his people for sure. We just got to check on his eligibility. But that said, you mentioned campuses. For those that may not be aware, can you talk a little bit about the campuses in terms of St. Croix, St. Thomas, and which spot you'll actually be in?
So there are two campuses. They are the St. Thomas campus. That's where I will be. That is the main campus. St. Thomas is the capital of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So that's where the governor is. That's where all the legislative stuff happens. So I will be on the St. Thomas campus. And then we do have a campus on St. Croix, the Albert Sheen campus. The one on St. Thomas is the Ken campus. But both awesome campuses, both really beautiful. Really interesting fact, the St. Thomas campus used to be a Navy base, right? I didn't know that until I went on my visit, and I got a really great tour from the chief of police. So some of the classrooms and administrative buildings used to be barracks. The basketball arena, the sports and fitness center, used to be an airplane hangar. So, really amazing history there, right? And then, St. Thomas is an island full of hills, so it's very picturesque. There is a golf course on campus. So again, it's really beautiful, right? Mike out here playing golf and trying to eat the food and come to the beach. Oh, more importantly, beyond the golf
big
course,
golfer too. He gonna take you up on the golf on campus.
Beyond the golf course, there's a beach on campus. Like we actually have a beach on campus in St. Thomas. I'm like, I could just walk down the hill and be at the beach. But the St. Croix campus,
volleyball. You just walk up it.
Right? Go play on the beach.
Yeah.
But the St. Croix campus is beautiful as well. Nice open fields with a scenic view. Really, really pretty campus. So 2 campuses, 1 university, all amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah,
great stuff there. For those that don't realize it, there's the UVI basketball that is played on the campus there in regards to a national tournament that a lot of people watch on television. This broadcast. I know you are obviously facilitating that since it's at the facility. And most recently, there have been an HBCU that was inaugural startup of the previous AD. Is that tournament that you're going to try to keep going?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because everybody came and enjoyed it the first couple times around. So we actually just had some meetings about that yesterday. Really want to, again, it plays to our telling our story, us getting UVI's name out there by inviting people in and having them come play in a multi-game tournament. So we plan to have it this year. Planning is underway. And then the Paradise Jam has been going on for several years. A lot of people are familiar with that one. Norfolk State is playing in it this year, so that'll be a whole experience for me, which is exciting. But some great basketball.
You're talking about throwing the welcome party.
Oh my
Right?
God. Big time. Wow.
Yeah, so when UBI is playing, definitely in there supporting Go Bucks. When the Spartans are playing, we'll be rooting for them in the Paradise Jam.
I like it.
Yeah.
Any last thing that you want? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, are you going to have a jersey underneath your jersey? So when I'm just asking. You don't have to say it. I'm just asking.
We'll talk about that one off the record.
Right. They play at two different times, so wear two different shirts.
Make it work. Blue and green will work well together. Some people can make it work.
Right.
With that being said, any last things that you wanted to share with us that we didn't, in terms of questions we didn't ask? The supporters, alumni, anything like that.
Yeah, just a reminder for people to continue to support HBCUs. We do important work, especially in the light of all the rulings that came down recently this summer. We're not a second choice. We should be a first choice, but we are here for people who feel like they need us, because my HBCU experience was amazing. I was able to go to school and be my full self without race being a factor. And at that point in life, you're already dealing with so many things. You're a young person, you're figuring life out, you're going to school, you're trying to navigate, this new section of life. And then you put race on top of that. That's a lot to have to deal with. So, but there's amazing diversity at HBCUs as well. So it's not like you'll be shut up with just Black people. You'll get to experience all kinds of cultures and you learn things. So, check out your local HBCU or the only HBCU in the Caribbean. Come see us. We got space.
That's right.
Wow. That's right.
That's right.
We will take
Exactly.
We're open.
Great point.
They got a golf course, they got a beach, and they got rice and peas.
Yep.
Right.
At the Paradise Island, you have the Division One basketball. Obviously, you have that. You have the NIA HBCU basketball tournament. So once you get your feet on ground and get running, might be an idea we might want to look in at HBCU Division II. I might be interested in bringing that over there, or Division I HBCU tournament in the Virgin Islands. We'll create our own.
Okay.
Because
no
problem with that.
Skills and we got the opportunities.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect match. Sounds like a match to me. With that, we'll take our last break. We'll come back on the other side. Hope you enjoyed our interview with Dr. Karen M. Carty, the recently named Director of Athletics at UBI, that's the University of the Virgin Islands, the only HBCU outside of the continental U.S. in the Caribbean. Check it out. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Rice and peas, baby.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Joshua. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with my buddies Charles Bishop and Mike Watson. They are acting up today. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Dr. Cardi. Not often we get a chance to really go outside our circle, but still be in our circle in terms of HBCU. So a lot of magic there. Great hire, great person there. To be interesting to see how things proceed. I wanted to also ask the working with the relationship and opportunity to work with Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes. I got a chance to talk to her off the record about coming to interview, and she said she reached out to Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes in regards that she was going to interview for it. Oh, she got excited. Said, "Oh, let me tell y'all this," and instantly gave her a number as they ran each other. So that is going to be awesome in terms of AD opportunity to work with the commissioner, doing some big things for the GCAC. Shout out to Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes over there in New Orleans, Louisiana, bigging up the GCAC. With that being said, I wanted to kind of go back and I talk to you about the television schedule of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Want to get your thoughts in terms of the television schedule, any games that stand out to you or the number of games on. What are your thoughts that first come to mind, Mike, when you heard about the release of the ESPN SWAC television schedule?
Well, here's what I thought, that the pairing, you look at some of the matchups. So you look at, September 9th, Jackson State at Southern. I mean, seriously. And then you look at, a couple, you could argue and say, Bethune comes to Jackson. And then you look at some of the others, FAMU at Southern. It seems there was an effort to look at pairing, to look at the matchups that drive pretty much a lot of the older, more, older, I would say not bowl games, but classics. So to me, I look at the schedule and I see a lot of classic type environments and games. I'm impressed with it, to be honest, because there's a lot of success in it from a volume standpoint, but just generating revenue and attention to the SWAC and looking at it, all of these games have kind of like a Magic City feel, or even a Soul City Classic feel. All of them have some kind of classic feel to them. So you can't pick one game on here on this schedule going down and say, I'm not going to try to check out that game. So that, I know that's kind of wide open. I know that's kind of, broadband speaking and broad brush, but I like this schedule. If I'm just a fan looking in, I'm like, man, there's no game on here I'm going to miss. Even October 14th, Alabama A&M at Grambling. If you look at the schedule, it is plush with kind of that, I guess, that classic type feel. Maybe it's just me, but those are my honest opinions and impression upon seeing this schedule.
Yeah, there's so many here. It's just hard for me to run down this list of games that I'm already getting excited. I think I'm not going to be perfect. I can watch Southern at Alabama State, Prairie View, Texas Southern, Jackson State at FAMU, Jackson State at Southern, and I can go on Alabama A&M at Southern. So let me go to you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms? What were your thoughts when you saw the schedule?
So many games to me that whet the curiosity palate, especially when you talk about, the post-primary. There are a lot of questions about this Jackson State team, and we get to answer that week one with regards to playing a normal strong South Carolina State team, and we'll see. If South Carolina State has bounced back to being who they were, the 2021 Celebration Bowl winners. But you keep going down the line. September 2nd, I think, is a fascinating weekend, and it starts things off because a lot of questions about who is Southern this year.
Exactly.
Will Alabama State challenge in the SWAC East? Everybody talks Jackson State, FAMU. Alabama State is like, you know what? We got something to say about both of those games because they played Jackson State and FAMU nip and tuck last year. So that's a very intriguing matchup. And then over there in the SWAC West, you talk about September 2nd, Prairie View versus Texas Southern. Texas Southern is that quiet dark horse that everybody was talking about that had the buzz at SWAC Media Day. And then you have this Prairie View team that literally was one weekend away, and in a lot of Prairie View fans' eyes, should have been playing for the SWAC championship last year. They start things off against Texas Southern. So it's so many games that really whet the curiosity palate that it's hard for me to even get out of September, but like, ooh, I can't wait to watch that one because that's going to be a fun.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one question I have, there's one on here, Florida Memorial at Grambling. I mean, that's the one. Florida Memorial is new to its division, and you got them on ESPN facing Grambling. To me, that's the one that kind of stands out because it's a little different. Most of these games whet the palate, as Charles would say. They answer questions about the team. Where's Southern at? And very early. But it's almost like you got Florida Memorial at Grambling. Are we trying to say what's going on with this Florida Memorial team? Are they really that good? And you're even intrigued to see that game just to see what happens with Florida Memorial at Grambling. So
good stuff. When you talk about Florida Memorial, I thought it was interesting because Brandon King, after the comment came out with beach volleyball, Edwin Moore shouted out beach volleyball, let's go. Brandon King says, I love to see that UBI-VMU matchup because Florida Memorial has a beach volleyball team themselves. So intriguing, particularly the distance between those right in that area. It'd be fascinating to see about that. But getting back into this before we close, I'm fascinated. You all focus on a lot of the first year of the games, even down the stretch. You have Prairie View at FAMU, FAMU at Alabama A&M, Southern at Alcorn, Texas Southern at Jackson State, Grambling at Arkansas Pine Bluff, Alcorn at Texas Southern, Prairie View at Southern, Alabama State at Prairie View. It closes strong as well, even outside of the Classic.
Yep.
A lot of games to go up and down the sheet. So I'm fascinated to see what that looks like. And think about this, gentlemen. We haven't really heard the conclusion of the HBCU goal schedule.
Yeah.
No.
Good point.
That's true.
So
That's
there
true.
will be a lot of games out there that you'll get a chance to really, as Mike said, whet your palate to get you excited. That'll do it for us with the show today. Shout out all the lab listeners. Thanks for joining us. I see you're talking about a great interview. Want to shout out and say thank you for watching us and viewing us. And Karen Griffin, Mary Allen, Edwin D. Moore, Sarah Beverly, Carol Keaton. Just want to say shout out to a couple of folks, Troy Lamont Coleman getting in here, getting in the mix. Great conversation last night as we mixed it up on HBCU Nightly. Troy came in there dropping bombs, talking about the Aggies. Want to shout out to the Aggies. Fascinating. We'll see if we can get Troy on. He has an interesting take, and he can certainly give us some insights on the Aggies. So we'll see what that looks like maybe before things get too far and get too far away for us and get going. With that being said, shout out again to Carl Moore checking us out as well as we get going. That'll do it for us today with Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Lab as we get excited about all the things going in here. Let me see if I can get my final notes to get things going on the show today for Inside the HBCU Lab. As I do that, I did want to give one final thought in terms of the mix-up. I know this is not HBCU related, but I want to know how far and fast it down as we see what's taking place with the Pac-12, which it seems like maybe coming to an end and closing with some teams seeming to be going out either to the Big 12 and some maybe in the Big 10. It's really fascinating to see how that conference churning will trickle down. We saw what it did last time with COVID, ending up with Bethune-Cookman and FAMU and the SWAC. We'll see again, will that take place and trickle down at some point, not really rapidly. So I'm fascinated with that and keeping my eye on the business side of what that looks like and some other things that we hear in terms of the business side. And we'll have a chance to talk a little more, maybe to see how that affects us. With that being said, thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends or colleagues. I'm Dr. Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Hope you enjoyed our guest, Dr. Karen Carty, the new AD at the University of Virgin Islands, UVI. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Get ready as we're prepping to be able to give you some updates for the Sunday show as it gets closer and closer. We're getting closer to that week 0. Jackson State and South Carolina State. We have been confirmed with our media passes. We all locked in terms of our hotel stays. And so we'll be in the house. We'll be in Atlanta. So we'll be able to give you some insight news of that matchup from that first weekend with the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Cavil, that's DrKenyatta, Cavil, that's DrKenyatta, Cavil, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Mike.
Lecture.
Dismiss.